my channel. Welcome back to Butterfly TV, where we talk about Turner Syndrome all the time. Happy Turner Syndrome Awareness Month. Happy February. I cannot even put into words how excited I am. So I wanted to take this opportunity to say Happy Awareness Month. I'm so excited for what the month's gonna bring and talk a little bit about the theme and kind of some exciting things for the month and kick it off. I'm so incredibly happy that there's been so much excitement. It's really contagious. So let's start off by talking about the theme. So Turner Syndrome Foundation does a theme every year, and this year's theme is the X Factor, which if you have been around here a lot, you probably have heard me talk about a lot. Turner Syndrome is all about the X chromosome. It is the chromosome that is impacted in Turner Syndrome, specifically the second X chromosome. And so it is kind of the basis for the whole thing. It's where all of the fun that comes with Turner Syndrome comes from. And fun fact, I actually did a video on this before. The idea of the butterfly as like the logo or kind of mascot of Turner Syndrome is because when it was first discovered under a microscope, it looked like a butterfly. It just reminded people of the shape of a butterfly. And so it started out just it's an X chromosome, and then it kind of just morphed into, oh, it really looks like a butterfly. And then the whole idea behind a butterfly and the imagery of a butterfly, everything they go through to become a butterfly, all of the strength that takes, just, I love. It's amazing to me. So this year, the theme being the X Factor, I feel like is really cool in a lot of ways. It's very like owning it. It's very embracing it. It's a little bit of an edge to it. Like, I really love it. So the X Factor, I feel like, also goes into, well, there's a whole lot we need to learn. You know, like there's a whole lot of the way that the impact on the second X chromosome really has that we still are learning more about. You know, we've come so far since it was discovered, but we still have so much more to go. There's conversations that still need to be had. There's conversations that are not finished. Research is not finished. And so I kind of wanted to share a little bit about what the idea of the X Factor to me means and like brings up. And what it really brings up for me is research. I guess because I just, thinking of the X chromosome, I automatically go into like the science behind stuff and like, why is this impacted this way? How does this affect this? I get all excited about that. Especially because I feel like there is still major strides to be done to have the care guidelines, the approach to treatments be more customizable. And I feel like that's going to take some research and awareness and paying attention to those conversations. So particularly, I know I've talked about this at length before, but I want to see more research into the hormones. Like, it's such a unique thing to each of us. Nobody's hormone levels are going to look exactly the same. Nobody's body is going to react to hormone replacement therapy, the different forms that it comes in, the different regimens and routines of it, the same. Nobody's going to handle it the same. And one of my biggest things I'd love to see change is a more tailored HRT. I would love to see the common practice be a customizable HRT, like not, oh, well, this is what we're commonly giving, so I'll give that to you. And I feel like part of that is researching how best to do that, because there's not really a way of predicting, right? Like, we only know so much and can only predict so much and understand so much before it becomes you just have to try things. But at the same time, I feel like there's not enough research in how those different regimens impact us also. The side effects, the long-term impact on being on hormone replacement therapy, particularly health risks that can come with being on hormone replacement therapy. I don't feel like there's been enough research for us to know what the long-term impacts on the girls and women taking it will be. I would love to see that. I would love also to see a switching of the guidelines gearing towards customizable. I just would love that. The idea of the X factor also makes me think about the presence it is in our lives. I talked about this a lot too. There's a difference between having Turner syndrome as a part of you and finding your identity in Turner syndrome. There's a difference, and I think it's important to remember that. It's important to remind ourselves that there is a balance between embracing it as a part of ourselves and having it be our identity, where we're defined by it and we are at the mercy of what it does or does not allow, what it decides to throw at us. And I think there's a lot of empowerment that comes from finding that balance of embracing it. I am not ashamed to share that I have Turner syndrome. I'm not ashamed to talk about it. And I'm not ashamed that it's a part of me. And I'm not ashamed of the ways it has influenced who I am. But at the same time, might just be my personality. I don't exactly love when I let something else dictate what I can and cannot do. And I think when you make that mental switch to that idea of holding those two things in tension that they may be, and doing that work, it makes such a difference for how you approach everything. And I think this also looks very different in each of our lives, because each of us struggle with different aspects of it. Each of us have bigger obstacles in different ways than the other. Like, infertility for some may not be that big of an obstacle. It's a big obstacle for me. NVLD may be a big obstacle for some, may not be as big of an obstacle for others. I could list all the different aspects of Turner's and say the same thing, but the idea being that the X factor even looks different for all of us. The X factor and how that impacts our lives looks different. And I think it's really intriguing and so interesting to me to see that play out and navigate those conversations of how do we move forward, right? Like, how do we do the work that needs to be done with that in mind? Because the research, the treatments, the care guidelines, all of it needs to be with that mindset of this X factor that we're talking about isn't always the same beast. Like, it's not a copy paste between all of us. And that's an interesting element to the whole idea of the X factor and research and Turner syndrome in general. And so those are the things that makes me think of. That's my reaction to that. I love it. I think it's awesome. And I'm really excited to see what conversations we have this month. If there's anything in particular you would like to see and talk about this month for Awareness Month, if there's anything you would like to share, if there's anything you're planning to do for Awareness Month, I would love to hear about it. Leave it in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Make sure you share it with everybody and anybody that you think would be interested in this. And if you like talking about Turner syndrome, we talk about it a lot around here. So hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit the bell icon so notifications are on so you see when the next video comes out. I will see you guys in that one. Bye!